What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back outside the Kingsland in Brooklyn, and we are here with Paladin. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. It's so awesome to have you here. Ascension is your latest record, which came out this year. Do you guys just want to give like a rundown on how the making of this record was, the recording, and all that fun stuff? Who wants to go first?
You want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. We started recording this album about 2.5 years ago. The whole process took about a year and a half, and by the time we were finished with it, that was when we started pitching it to labels, and Prosthetic Records actually got back to us fairly quick through our friend Randy Drake from Fozzy. Taylor works with them, and they picked us up, and then about 6 months later, it was released in May 2019.
Awesome. Being that you mentioned that it took like 2.5 years to make this record and all that fun stuff, did like the songwriting process like change at all? Did like you start with one idea and it completely turned into something different?
Not really. I write most of this stuff by myself, and then I'll bring it to the band and we'll work out like transitions and intros and tweak some stuff. I don't think it ever really changed as far as the actual like songwriting process, but my sort of taste for what I wanted to write sort of started changing towards the end of getting all the material together. So some of the later songs are a little different from the earlier songs.
When it comes to like the songwriting process, do you guys like have a preconceived idea on how you want something to sound, or do you kind of like improvise in a way and let things kind of fall into place?
I kind of have. Well, I don't really know. I don't know how I write songs. No, I come up with ideas. I'll get a riff or melody or whatever, and I'll just try to develop that in whatever way happens. Sometimes I'll have like sort of a set idea in mind, direction that I want the song to go. Sometimes I try to do like more simple things, or maybe I'll branch out and do something a little more atypical for our style. And then, like I said, I'll have like some kind of backbone of a song done and then show it to everybody else, and we'll get together and hash out other things about it.
When it comes to playing your material live, is it a completely different energy in playing it live versus like rehearsing or practicing or any of that stuff? Is it like a completely separate energy, or is there kind of like a usual method behind the madness?
Usually for practice, we're just focusing on trying not to fuck up and get all the parts right, and live is just full-on intense energy. We're all headbanging and trying to bring the best show we can to our fans and whatnot. Yeah.
Is there like, do you try to execute it exactly how people are hearing it on the album, or do you like to maybe?
Yeah, we try our best. We definitely fuck up, even though all other bands on this tour say we don't, but we totally do.
There you go. Here's a question I was actually curious about, because I feel like that with this particular record is that every song really, I would say that there's a great consistent element behind it. Like, did the making of each song call for a different approach, or was there kind of like a formula that you wanted to stick with?
I think for the most part there was a formula. I'm kind of a fan of sticking to formulas when I write songs anyway. I like having a defined verse and a defined chorus and following sort of a structured song format instead of like Opeth, where it's just, A, B, C, D, E, and nothing repeats. For some of the songs, I wanted to try something a little less linear, less predictable. But yeah, for the most part, I try to write with sort of a pop-based structure in mind.
Here's a typical question. I want to see if you guys could both elaborate with this one, but how do you know when a song is done? It's always the hardest question for everyone to answer.
I don't. I really don't sometimes. That's a hard question.
It's never quite finished. It's just kind of abandoned at some point.
Yeah, I hear that just about 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It seems to be the default.
Same with recording. Like, we just keep fucking around with it until nothing bothers us anymore. and we think it's everything on, but we always hear shit later on anyway. So
There you go.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Actually, to elaborate on that a little, there are actually some parts of this album that I wasn't like necessarily completely happy with how it turned out, but I couldn't think of any other things to do instead of that. So I was like, okay, well, it's good enough. It's good. I think it could have been better, but I have no idea how I would have done that.
Yeah. And I'd imagine that you probably had, like, when it was finished recording and, like, as soon as you put the record out, you were just like, oh, now I figured it out.
No.
All right, fair enough. And being that you guys are from Atlanta, Georgia, you know, as we talked before we started rolling, I just interviewed Cloak earlier this week, and I mean, just with the history of Atlanta with bands like Mastodon or Seven Dust or Royal Thunder, I mean, is there kind of like a current happening metal scene in Atlanta now that you guys are currently active in, or were you guys more interested in kind of like going outside your hometown in order to get Paladin's name out there?
It's definitely an active scene that we're all a part of. It might be all different genres. All these bands are different genres, but we all know the same people. We all play the same kind of shows and around the same kind of area. It's very active. It's very cool, and yeah, I dig it a lot. It's really come together nicely. I think Atlanta has a really good scene. Yeah, today. Yeah.
Yeah. Any bands you want to shout out that are kind of like cutting their teeth there right now?
Oh, jeez. I always blank on this. Obviously, we got Cloak
Yep.
out there touring with 1349 right now.
Yep. We're just at that show.
And, oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. What else we got? You
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I always like,
Just say Mastodon.
Hey, Mastodon. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Cue the Jeopardy music.
I know, right? I don't know. There's a lot of bands. There's a lot of bands to name. Like Prime Mover. They've been killing it recently. My other band, Sadistic Ritual, put out an album around the same time we did. Yeah.
That's enough. Got a couple. You mentioned another band?
There's those boys in Voltage. They're playing like some like retro heavy metal revival stuff, and I think are they playing some festival next year? Are they playing Legions of Metal or?
They're playing with us in Rapid Fire Fest.
Doing that, yeah. Man, yeah. There's so many bands, and we're friends with everyone there. Black Candle is a newer band. Fucking Malformity have been like a death metal staple for a while. A lot of bands.
There you go. There you go. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there just anything else you would like to promote for Paladin in terms of tours or maybe even some new music?
We don't have any touring plans yet. We're working on it right now. So we'll probably be out back in spring, earlier if possible. We do have an EP coming out in December. It's super secret. It's a tribute EP. But get ready for an announcement very soon on that.
Awesome. This is going to be uploaded by midnight, so is that secretive?
Oh, no. That's enough. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Everybody, we are here with Paladin. New music coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.